Moving on now, Kyrgyz President Sooronbay Jeenbekov has declared a state of emergency in Bishkek, deploying troops on the streets of the capital as unrest gripped the Central Asian country. In a statement, Jeenbekov's office said that the state of emergency, which includes a curfew and tight security restrictions, would be in effect from 8 p.m. on Friday until 8 a.m. on October 21st. Now, earlier, President Jeenbekov has offered to resign in an attempt to put an end to the political unrest in Kyrgyzstan. He had also accepted the resignation of Prime Minister Kubatbek Boronov. In an address published on his official website, Jeenbekov said that he will resign once a date for fresh elections are set and a new cabinet is appointed. He also said that he wanted to legitimize ongoing appointments before his potential resignation. This comes after the opposition parties have accused the government of unfair elections, in which two political parties close to Jeenbekov swept the parliamentary vote. President Sooronbay Jeenbekov has signed an order now dismissing Prime Minister Kubatbek Boronov and his cabinet on Friday. He stepped down from his post on Tuesday after the Electoral Commission annulled the results of Sunday's parliamentary elections in response to the accusations of vote rigging. Opposition politician Sadir Zaparov has also been appointed as the acting PM as of now. Now, Sunday's parliamentary election in Kyrgyzstan sparked violent protests across the country. Opposition forced the cabinet to resign and the election commission to annul the results of the election opposition. Now, these groups have so far failed to agree on who would lead a provisional government. The statement comes just hours after Jeenbekov's press chief said that the president's resignation was not under question as he is in talks with national political leaders to restore normalcy. Protesters have claimed Sunday's election was rigged by massive vote buying in favor of parties close to Jeenbekov. The election results were annulled on Tuesday, but that has done little to ease the political crisis. Rival politicians and their supporters have failed to arrive in consensus of power division in the upcoming government. Now, for more on this, we're being joined by Mr. Christopher Schwartz, correspondent of Open Democracy Net from Kyrgyzstan. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. Now, earlier President Jeenbekov had offered to resign in an attempt to put an end to political unrest in Kyrgyzstan. And now this, how do you assess these developments? Mr. Schwartz, can you hear me? I was asking you that. Do you want me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Yes, so I was talking about how earlier the president had agreed to resign and now there's unrest and a state of emergency has been declared. What do you make of these developments?
It's hard to say. I think the president himself has been very indecisive and is probably receiving contradictory suggestions. It was a very good sign that he was willing to resign. It showed that he wanted to try to keep a situation that was spiraling out of control more peaceful. Now it's not clear what his strategy is. It's also not clear what the opposition strategy is. As we speak, there is now a new rally, this time for supporters not only of Babanov, who was the main competitor to be president against Jeenbekov in 2017, but also the former president, Altambayev, who himself was involved in a failed uprising 14 months ago and was sprung from jail on Monday night.
All right. And also, he has signed an order dismissing Prime Minister and his cabinet on Friday. Could you tell us a little more about that?
I'm not sure he's dismissing him per se as much as he's accepting his resignation. But Babanov formally resigned. Forgive me, I forget if it was on Monday or Tuesday, but he formally resigned earlier this week, but had not actually, the president has to accept the resignation. From what I further understand, there will be a caretaker government that will put in place. So most of the ministers are still in place in an acting capacity at the moment.
And also in efforts to pacify the unrest in the country, the deployment of troops is going to carry on till 21st of October. In the coming few days, how do you see the situation panning out?
I think there is now potential for violence, and I hope that it doesn't happen. The country so far has been able to steer clear of deeper instability despite having this uprising. This could potentially be very provocational action on the part of the president. I'm not entirely sure what he's thinking.
All right. Mr. Schwartz, thank you so much for joining us with all those inputs. We at WION will definitely be tracking this closely.